What's up, y'all? It's your girl Maury, and I am back with another hairstyle. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I got these beautiful boho passion braids. This hairstyle is so versatile. You can wear it to the side, you can wear it in a ponytail, you can wear it half up and half down. I wore this hairstyle for vacation and it was the perfect vacation hairstyle. Even though the braids are jumbo, they're lightweight, and all in all, it was a really good hairstyle, very manageable and easy for vacation. But before we get into this video, I need you guys to hit that subscribe button, subscribe to my channel, like this video, talk to me in the comments, and yeah, let's get into this style. So for this hairstyle, I'll be using braiding hair. I have the Xpressions Braiding Hair 52 inches, and I got it in the color 1. I also will be adding these boho pieces. This is 24-inch deep wave. I got this off of Amazon. I will link it below in the description box. And we're also going to be adding some water wave crochet hair to braid the braids as well. This is going to add the texture. Everything will be in the description box. So I did go ahead and pre-part the back of my hair. I just did 4 sections. As you can see, my hair is very thick, but as I go along in each section, I'll go in and clean my parts up. For this style, I will be using Neatbraid as my braid gel, and I did go ahead for time purposes and already braid the back of my hair, and this is how it looks. This is how it came out so far. As y'all can see, I have big parts, big braids, and everything like that. And this style was pretty much easy to do, so yeah, let's get into it. Now, when I do my braids, I like to pre-part my hair. It just makes it easier and helps you map out, you know, what your sections are going to look like, how you want your braids to be, how big, how many sections or rows, however you want to call it. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm first getting my middle part together, and then I'm going to go ahead and part out, section out both sides of my hair. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I have a moving scalp because every time I try to do a middle part, or I have to have my hair like parted in the middle, I swear I have to keep going over it every single time because I feel like it's in the middle, and then when I part it there, it's not in the middle, then I gotta go and repart it again. But that's what we're just doing here, making sure our middle part is clean and crisp, and this is important so that when you go to pre-part your hair, your sections are even and exactly how it's supposed to be. So I decided that I was only going to be doing 3 rows in the front of my hair. So I'm just sectioning it out. I'm doing 1 braid right here where I do the first twist, and then the next row will be 2 braids, and then the top row will be 3 braids, just to make it easier. These are jumbo braids, and I knew going on vacation I didn't want to have a lot of braids and all of that because I knew I was going to be in water and doing a lot of water activities in and out the pool, and I just wanted less braids. Didn't want my hair to be heavy with a whole bunch of braids or anything like that. So that's how I'm pre-parting my hair now, and as I part each section, I'm just twisting it just so it can stay separated and out the way as I start braiding and going through the sections. Now, to start the braid off, I am just putting the Neatbraid on the part again to clean up the part if I want to make it bigger, if I want to make it smaller, everything like that. And then I'm also going to go ahead and comb my edges out. If you guys see my edges here, My edges are newly like grown back in, so they're not that long enough to really go in a braid, and I really didn't want to braid them because I didn't want them breaking off or anything. I just wanted to let them be and keep them out the way and let them keep growing. So I did go ahead and section my edges off, and then I'm just taking this Neatbraid and I'm putting it all around the section where I'm going to start the braid. And I like to take my little edge brush and just brush all the hairs and mold it to basically like the middle of the square of where I want to start my braid, because I don't want it to be too high but you don't want it to hang too low. So for each braid I'm using 3 strands of the water wave crochet hair. I'm also going to be using 2 like medium pieces of the braiding hair, and I will be adding 6 boho strands to each braid. At the tip of the boho I did add some of that Neatbraid as well, just to make it easier to add it in. So I'm going to start off with just braiding my regular hair maybe like once, and then after that I'm going to add the first piece of braiding hair. So what I do is I add it to the middle section, and whatever section is on the outside from that, I add the other piece in, braid down once, and then I'm adding the other piece of braiding hair. Again, as you add the hair, you always want to add it to the middle. Every time you add the piece of hair, you want to always add it to the middle. So I'm going to braid down with the braiding hair a few times to lock that in, and then I'm going to add the first boho piece. This piece I'm just adding at the top, and I'm just going to braid it down. You want to make sure that you put enough of the tip of the boho piece so it doesn't slip out. And then after I braid down a little, I add the first piece of passion hair and then the second piece of the passion braid hair. So remember, no matter what piece you're adding, you always want to make sure you add it to the middle. Now when I add the other boho pieces from the top, I'm just adding it in and braiding the boho piece down a little bit before I pull it out. This is going to make sure that the boho hair just stays secure within the braid. And then once I braid it down a little, I just go ahead and pull that boho piece out. Make sure you have some clips on hand because you're gonna want to clip the boho hair up just so it doesn't get in the way. But that's just basically it, guys. I'm just going to make sure that as I'm braiding, I'm pulling it tight, I'm braiding tight, and then I'll go ahead and add that last piece of the passion, the water wave crochet hair. The crochet hair is what makes the braid have that texture, that fluffy, soft look. Other than like when you use the braiding hair, it just looks more firm. The water wave, why am I getting tongue twisted? The water wave crochet hair gives your hair that soft look, that natural, I can't explain it, but you guys see what I'm saying, like that natural soft braid look. You can add in how many pieces you want, but for each braid I just added in 6 pieces because I wanted it to be full. Now I'm going to show you guys how I did the ends of the braids because I did want my ends to be curly. So as you can see here, I'm going to braid down and I'm going to add that last piece of boho hair, and I'm going to braid it down a little bit into the braid like I did all the other pieces to make sure that it's tight. And I'll pull it up and then braid down a little bit more. Once I have it to the length or where I wanted to braid it, I'm going to take that last boho piece that I added in there and I'm gonna pull it down. Now to seal my ends, I did use rubber bands, so I'm using 2 black rubber bands and I'm just going to loop it all together. Make sure that when you put the rubber band on, you're spreading your fingers wide enough so the boho hair doesn't get all tangled or everything into the rubber band. And yeah guys, that's pretty much the braid. This is how the braid looks once it's finished. You can see the boho pieces, they're in there, they're secure. There's 6 pieces on each braid, and this is how the ends look, nice, cute, and curly. I'm going to show you guys one more time and go through this step so you guys can understand how I did the braid. So again, we're taking that Neatbraid and we're going to use that at the root and use a comb, or I use my edge brush, and we want to smooth our section together, mold it to where we want it to be when we start the braid. Once we have the section all molded, we're going to take our hair and split it into 3 and start off a braid. You're going to braid down 1 or 2 times, and then you're going to add in that first piece of braiding hair. And remember, we're always adding to the middle. You always add to the middle, and whatever is the outside section, you add that, you grab it with that piece. Braid down a little more with the same braiding hair, and then we're going to add in our first piece of the water wave hair. Once we add that in, we're going to braid down again, and then we're going to go in and add our first piece of boho hair. With the first piece of boho hair, you want to add it in the middle and then pull it to the top, and just make sure that as you're braiding down, you're grabbing it tight so that it's secured and you don't want anything to slip out. Once we braid down a little more, and oh guys, another tip is as you're braiding, we're going in and adding that second water wave piece, but as you're braiding, you want to make sure that you keep like sliding your fingers down through the hair so that the ends do not get tangled, because there is a lot of different textures going on within the braid, and you don't want the ends of your extensions to get tangled, because that's just going to be a recipe for disaster and you're going to have to just start the braid all over. But yeah, we added that second piece of boho hair, we added it to the middle, and then we braided down some with both sides before we pulled out the ends of the boho hair. And then once we did that, we're going to go ahead and add that third piece of the water wave hair. Guys, I know it may seem like a lot of steps, or it may seem confusing, but if you know how to braid, it's very simple. Again, you see me adding the boho hair, and I'm braiding down a little before I go in and pull that in out. This is just going to make sure that your boho pieces are secure, they're not slipping out. And I really didn't have that much problem when it came to this hair. Now I will say the boho hair that I have, it did tangle a little bit, but that was on my fault because I was on vacation. I was in and out of water. I wasn't like doing the proper care for the hair, and I was on vacation for a week, so you could imagine how that is. But other than that, once I refreshed it and when I came back from vacation, the hair was good and it was fine. Also, you want to make sure you're keeping your clips for the boho pieces so they don't get in the way. And I'm going to show you guys again how I did the ends. So I'm adding the boho piece in, and I braid it down a little bit. Once I get it to the length of where I want it to be, I'm going to braid down a little more and add that last piece of boho hair so that the end can be curly at the end of the braid and we just don't have braid at the end. Once I add that in, I'm going to braid it down, take my 2 rubber bands, and I'm going to make sure that I put the rubber band very tight until I can't pull it anymore. As you're wrapping the rubber band around, you want to make sure that you're spreading your fingers wide enough so that the hair does not get tangled in the rubber band. And yeah guys, that's pretty much how I achieved this look, how I got this braid style. Very cute, very easy to manage, very easy to do, and this is how it looks, guys. I was feeling myself. This hairstyle was so cute. Even though it is jumbo braids, I didn't have that many braids, so it's really lightweight. I will say that the boho hair was very soft. I actually dyed them jet black because my hair is black and I wanted it to match the braiding hair, and it dyed perfectly. It didn't lose its texture after we dyed it, after I washed it. So I'm just going to put the description of all the hair that I use and the products that I use for this style. We can wear this hairstyle to the side. We can wear it half up, half down. But yeah guys, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video.